Oh, okay. So this next topic kind of engulfs a whole bunch of questions. Lots of people are asking about my size and, well, our size as being female riders. And so the big question is, does size matter? Can you, um, can,
I tried really hard to keep a straight face then.
I was wondering if, thank you. No, but as a rider, does size matter? And how do you overcome being smaller? So yeah, there's lots to say here. Do you want to get us started?
I think for me, so I've got a little bit of a height advantage of you. I'm about 5'7" and you're 5'3".
Yep.
Yeah. I guess there's probably two areas in my head when I think about that. The first one is the skills. So trying to focus on skills that prevent you from being so aware that you're short. So the obvious one there is working on your balance so that when you would potentially have dab, you don't need to dab because you've got the balance to ride it out. Because when you're shorter, because even for me at 5'7" on a totally standard bike, I can't reach the ground on both sides comfortably, not hard enduro style. So I'm actually getting my 250 lowered now, which I'm very excited about. But sort of getting those skills where you can almost avoid the situation where it would be really obvious that you're short. I think some of the others where the size, because if you think about, say, the average guy that maybe is 90 kilos or something and can bench press 90 or 100 kilos, for them, the body to weight ratio with a 100-kilo bike is a little bit different to say us. I'm 60 kilos and with a 100-kilo bike, that's a big bike to be, I don't know, upside down on the side of a hill or in a pile of rocks. So trying to avoid the situations where I might have to lift it, which might be taking an extra 20 seconds just to really think, right, what is the best line? And not just like balls out going in and then thinking, oh, wait, I should have gone that way. Whereas if I'd taken a little bit of time and thought about it, I could have avoided the loss of energy of getting quite so stuck.
Yeah.
I think it's like trying to ride a little bit more cleverly. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it.
Totally.
And then the other one is bike setup, which I think is the relatively obvious ones, like lowering the suspension, slimmer, what's the bit your bum fits on? Slimmer seats. Yeah, any other ideas?
Yeah, so I'm totally with you on the balance thing. If you can better your balance, you're going to save a bunch of energy, whether you're a short rider or a tall rider. The more you need to dab and try to put your feet down, the more you're going to get exhausted. And as a small person, it's even worse, right? Because dabbing is a lot more difficult in almost every situation. So that's something that I really, really work on. Sometimes when I'm out on the trail, I'll be like trying really hard not to touch, like touch the ground, just because it's good practice, right? Like sometimes we'll just take a day to, okay, let's see who can dab the least on this rocky trail. And it's really good practice. And you can do that stuff at home, like we've all been doing because of the coronavirus. We've all been stuck at home. You can practice balance, right? Static balancing at home. You don't even need to turn the bike on, and it your riding will improve in leaps and bounds if you improve your balance. So that's the first thing. And then you already covered bike setup, which is basically the same for me. I lower my bikes by 1 inch overall in the suspension. Okay, so I'm not putting a lowering link on my bike because that changes the geometry of the bike and it's not ideal. So I get it done professionally and evenly in the suspension. If you want it lower than 1 inch, I wouldn't recommend it because at that point your ground clearance loss is going to be very noticeable. So there's that. But yeah, the biggest thing for me, especially when it comes to racing, is exactly what you already said, Vanessa, is picking smart lines and knowing your own skills. So if if the only good line is all bunged up and there's a whole bunch of riders laid out on it, you're always going to be tempted to just and take a sketchy line around. But sometimes it's just, you need to use your brain and maybe it's better to wait 20-30 seconds for an opening in the safer line than to spend 8-9 minutes lifting your bike up on the hill when you didn't quite make the crappy line, right? So as a small rider, it's all about balance and skills, and then proper bike setup. If anyone tells you that you shouldn't be changing your stock bike, they're a little bit out to lunch. And then smart line choices and know your skills, right? If you have the skills and you're confident that you can get around that bottleneck, then by all means. But if you're tired and you know that you probably are not going to make it, sometimes it's best to just wait and play the safe card.
Yeah. I've just thought of another one. One of the ways where, as a smaller person, body to weight ratio wise with the bike, I think picking up the bike, you lose a lot of energy. And actually there are quite a few good videos on YouTube that you can watch that teach you to pick up the bike in like the most efficient way. So that's probably a tip as well. So to do some learning on like how to pick up the bike, because when you're, upside down on a big hill climb going the wrong way, you can lose so much energy fighting it, when actually a couple of, I can't think of them off my head, but a couple of cleverer methods will really help you out.
Yep, that's a good one for sure. And then just knowing when to let the bike do the work and the suspension versus the body. So your last resort is your body, right? And if you are going to use your body to move your bike or do some sort of maneuver, you want to use your legs, the strongest muscles, right? So it's always about conserving energy, especially as a small rider.
Yeah.